Hey guys, and welcome back to Woodshop Junkies. So in my previous video I built a jig that would allow me to use my thickness planer to square out the narrow ends of planks. And while testing it, though the jig worked pretty much as it is intended, I realized that my planer blades need some serious attention. Now I bought the planer second hand, so the blades weren't in the greatest condition to begin with. But since I've been having quality issues lately, I decided to take them out. And now that I have, I did a thorough visual inspection on the blades. And immediately I could see that the one edge is quite damaged. The other three edges, with the exception of a little rust and a nick here or there, it isn't in too bad shape. Besides a visual inspection, I put the blades down on a flat piece of MDF and shined a light from the back so I could see any height deviations in the blade, which there are, which obviously needs to be taken out as well. Now they say these blades aren't supposed to be sharpened but rather be replaced, but I can be a bit stubborn sometimes, so I want to give it a try before buying new blades. Now I'm no expert when it comes to sharpening edges. All I have is my three whetstones, a coarse, a medium and a fine, the coarse being about 200 grit and the fine 6,000, medium is 1,000. But what I do know is that if I have any hope of sharpening these blades, I'm going to have to ensure that they stay at a constant angle like this and along the bevel, allowing me to use the stone to grind it down to a flat finish again. Now there's no way I'm going to be able to achieve this by hand. So I need to build a jig which is going to keep this blade at that angle and also like this, so I can grind it down to a flat finish and a sharper edge. Okay, so my first step in making my sharpening jig is making a holder for the blade. And it is very simple, there's no reason to overcomplicate this project. All I did was cut a recess into a piece of scrap wood I had in the shop that would allow me to seat the blade into this recess and then use these three washers to hold it down using screws. The recess I cut slightly shallower than the blade is thick, so if the blade is 4 mm thick, I cut the recess at 3 mm, which would allow me to tighten these screws and the washers will then apply force to the blade. This will now allow the blade to sit while it's being sharpened, not move around, and the holder can now be attached to the mechanism I use to keep the blade at that angle. Alright, so now I added an additional piece of scrap wood to my blade holder using these two hinges. This piece will now be attached to the remainder of my jig, giving me the ability to adjust the height of this assembly. The hinges are what's going to give me the ability to set the bevel of the blade with relation to the stone. Okay guys, so this is the other half of my sharpening jig. I made it out of MDF, not really that complicated. The MDF might not be the best idea because I'm using water with the stones, but at this stage I'm not too worried about it. It's not like I'm planning on sharpening my planer blades every other day. The blade holder will now attach to this like that, but obviously be height adjustable, and then the stone will fix onto a base. I'm not doing it on my workbench. I'll probably use this or something else in the shop, and then you will adjust the height accordingly, and that's pretty much the idea. So I'm going to attach these two together and then I can see if it works. Okay guys, and that's pretty much the idea. I just fixed the stone here temporarily with these two blocks, but ideally I would make some kind of clamp that will hold the stone. Now I would just adjust this jig so that the bevel sits flush or flat on the stone, tighten the height adjustment, and then I can soak the stones and see if the idea works. That's looking pretty good. I will admit it took quite a bit of time to get it nice and flat and get the pit marks out, but that looks good. Now I can stick the other two stones in and just finish it off. And the jig seems to have done its job. The blade is nice and straight, the pit marks are out and it's nice and sharp again. So I'm just going to do the other one and then I can stick it in the machine and see how it performs. Alright guys, so with both blades sharpened and put back in the planer, it's time to put a piece of wood through it and see how it came out. And that's pretty much it guys. The jig seems to work just fine and it sharpened the blades and the finish is acceptable. All in all, I'm pretty happy with the result. That's about it. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, remember to subscribe. Cheers.